Welcome once again to the Squares of the Round Table podcast. Jive and Ivan over here after a big steaming bowl of tuna fish and noodles. And of course, here with me is Mike and Jeff.
Hey.
Hello.
I don't have any steaming bowls.
Yeah, well. When I think about Ivan talking about steaming bowls, that's not exactly what I'm thinking about.
We know what you're thinking about.
He's like, bang, you know. Oh, I need chips, you know.
The squares have returned.
They have.
Even though most of us look more circular.
Yes. So how you doing, Ivan? How was your weekend?
Really not that eventful, to be honest with you. Let's see, I was supposed to have my surgery done on Friday, but my doctor was ready, but my hospital wasn't. So I got rescheduled for Monday, so I will be missing you Monday, October 7th. And in the hopes that we'll have a mystery guest come on that show.
Well, we're going to have quite a few mystery guests because I'm not going to be on that week either.
Uh-oh.
It's going to be Mike and mystery guests.
My imaginary friend.
Yep.
You mean the one you still talk to?
I think he means you.
I'm not imaginary. I'm talking.
Right.
Well, I hope your procedure goes well, Ivan.
Thank you. Thank you. Are you good?
So the hospital said, nope.
It's like, wow, we got everything ready for you, and you're not ready. Okay.
Well, that's not true. You were ready. The hospital wasn't ready.
Yeah, I was ready, but the hospital wasn't ready. So
no snippy to pee-pee today, folks.
No sniffy to pee-pee today. No finger food for anyone.
Well, the good news is you'll be able to hit an octave higher now.
Can you imagine me on the next broadcast? Hey, everybody!
Oh my God!
Ouch!
How are we doing, man?
Oh, okay, that's.
I'll second to you.
That's. So he had a. That's. Thank you, Ivan. So how's your weekend, Jeff?
Let's see.
I
saw Endgame again.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time. I saw Endgame again for the first time.
Okay.
And I gotta be honest with you.
Be honest with us, Jeff.
Kind of bored. Ivan's dying.
No, I'm just like trying to get over. I just saw Endgame again for the first time.
No,
yes.
For the first time in a while, since the theater. Right?
Yeah, since the theater. Yeah, since I saw it in May.
Okay.
And I got, really kind of bored.
Well, is it just the lead up to the final battle, or you just?
Yeah, I just don't.
Watching
it, I'm like, really, that last hour is pretty much what you want to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the first 5 minutes, and it's like I could skip most of the movie until they get to right after they get done with the time heist.
So it's like for you, it's just like they're going through the motions.
Kinda. I just feel like they take too long.
Wow. A film that hasn't aged well in several months. That's a record.
Well, no. There are a lot of people who like it because they like the feels and all that stuff. And I'm like, I gotta tell you, it's a little long on the feels in that middle section about the we lost kind of thing. And I get it, but it's like, okay, we get the point. We really get the point.
I understand where you're coming from, and it's not in my top 5 in the MCU, for sure.
And other thing is, I really, really, more and more I watch, the second time watching it, I'm really like, time travel, really bad idea. Just really bad idea. Cause
always.
Not always,
but not a good idea to introduce into the Marvel Universe yet. For cinematic, just not a good idea.
Yeah, and the fact that they left it open now that they can do it anytime they want now.
Exactly.
If there was a way, like if the plans got destroyed, only Tony knows how to build it. and how to navigate it.
Right.
If the tech was destroyed and with Tony being dead, spoilers.
Well, and that's kind of the part I laugh about too, Mike, is everybody's like, well, that's the end. We're never going to see Tony Stark again. What are you talking about? You got a time machine.
Yeah, a time machine. You can see Tony anytime you fucking want.
Exactly. And you can bring him from
anytime Marvel decides to throw $50 million at him.
Exactly.
Speaking of
just like Chris Evans. If Chris Evans wants to do Captain America again, you know exactly where to go find his ass.
So we'll go see him. Yes.
Yeah, it's like we got a time machine.
So we can do whatever we want, whenever we want, for whoever.
Well, I could see how this time travel thing has painted them in the corner a little bit. But that's why they're bringing in this new crew, this new blood. But now with the announcement of the 4th MCU film in 2021, they just got, those content. So, but I hear you about Endgame. It's still some great moments in it. And for me, it's a solid watch. But I think, I said this as soon as I got out of the theater. I liked Infinity War better a little bit because I liked there's a lot more action in it.
Right. Well, that's the other problem. The other problem is there's a lot of stuff. Thinking about it now, there's a lot of ways they could have gone instead of making them all go poof. Okay? I mean, it was kind of an oh my god moment, but as soon as you did that, you painted your ass into the biggest corner of all time. Because how the hell else were you going to bring him back?
And they were coming back. They're bringing back Black Panther and Spidey.
Back. Yeah. Right. So it's like...
Speaking of Spidey, let me just interject for a moment. I heard that there's another Spidey movie coming out.
Yeah, we were saving that for later.
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
We'll get
into our Spidey news.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Because there's a little bit more Spider-Man news than that, too. Just like somebody said to me, it was funny, I was watching with somebody who's really nitpicky, and they were like, well, wait, how does Captain America is able to get back in 5 minutes and didn't have to come back every time to go put the stones away? And I'm like, I don't know.
He had enough Pym particles to just jump from place to place to place to place.
I guess, but does it? Well, that's the question. I assume that's the answer. I have no idea.
It just had this was the third act at the very end. They had to wrap it up.
Right. Well, just like Hawkeye is underneath the building, is underneath the headquarters after it's been blown up, and those things are running after him. But supposedly he hasn't disembarked anything down to the ground. Thanos hasn't disembarked anything down to the ground. I was like, wait, how did they get... This person was really good at nitpicking stuff, and I'm just sitting there going, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. And I'm like, geez, they really did, I don't know. It was just like, I don't get it. Like, the baseball stadium is totally empty and been, not used for a while. If, half the world's population was gone, we would stop playing baseball.
Yep.
I mean, there's some things that, when you stop and think about it, it's like, would we really have gotten to that level of apocalyptic? I mean, it's not like it's not like the entire world collapsed or anything.
It's a matter of survival now.
Right, but it just seemed like...
Growing food and providing services, and there's better things than baseball players to do.
I guess. I mean, to me, I just don't think that that's what happened. I mean, I maybe I'm thinking about this wrong, but I don't know. I just don't think that would really happen.
I think it would have been priorities. It's and with the demoralization, they were building memorials. They had the big one in San Francisco.
Yeah. But I mean, 5 years later, they're still not playing baseball. I don't know about that. I especially with the way, and I really don't want to get into this, but I guess I have no choice. The best comp I got is 9/11. And after 9/11, people were very, very much, about glad baseball is there and football is back and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, that's just New York and America, but all over the planet.
Yeah, maybe.
It's the scale in which the disappearance.
Like I said, the long and short of it is that I just watching it a second time. I'm sitting there going, I kind of saw all the flaws, and it wasn't. I was kind of like, you know what? If I could just watch the last hour of the movie, I'd be good.
So,
I
Endgame's
did.
fallen a few more rungs down the ladder for you, I see.
Oh, well, it kind of did initially. I mean, honestly, Infinity War is like one. Infinity War reminds me of Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, because the bad guy wins at the end.
Well, not only that, just because a lot of action, a lot of stuff going on. It moves really fast. It moves well. You know, I don't know. That's just me. I saw a lot. I saw quite a few of the new shows for premiere purposes. So I'll wait to talk about those a little bit. And then what else? I'm trying to think of anything else that. I saw Glow. I saw Glow on Netflix, and for season 3 they moved way away from the fact that they're that. Oh, by the way, this show's about women's wrestling. It's like they spent way too much time on everything but wrestling.
Maybe they're going with the less is more approach.
Yeah, well, it was like, okay, we're going to talk about all the people and like build them out as people and stuff, but not really like about them looking for anything beyond Glow. It's like you have a hit show in Vegas.
You okay, Ivan?
Who are the people in the Federation?
Ivan.
In the Federation.
Step away from the microphone, Ivan.
What?
Your sound's a bit hot.
Yeah.
I'm not even up close.
Okay, that's better. That's a good volume right there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Gulping on stuff. We thought you might be gulping and dying or something.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm fine.
Glad to hear.
But yeah.
So Glow was still pretty good? Decent? Meh?
For me...
Glow was slow.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I would go along with that. It's funny because I guess they're doing a 4th season and it'll be the final season.
Okay.
But I would say seasons 1 and 2 were better. I know people who liked it a lot better, but then again, they're not real wrestling fans. For me, it's like you're in Vegas, you're doing a wrestling show, and it felt like you guys forgot that you're basically
about wrestling.
About wrestling. It was like, oh, we're just going to use this totally as a vehicle to talk about other stuff. They spent more time talking about Vegas show, like Vegas cabaret and bullshit like that than they did about wrestling. And I'm like, I'm confused. Is this show about women's wrestling? Shouldn't there be something interesting about women's wrestling?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I seem like I've watched a lot of TV. How about you, Mike? What's been going on with you?
Well, I took my trip to Pennsylvania to see my Uncle Mel.
Yes.
That was very entertaining. That was fun. I had a good time. Glad I went.
Where's Uncle Mel live?
He's in the suburbs of Erie, Pennsylvania, which is far western Pennsylvania, just right under the Panhandle, past Cleveland. And traffic wasn't bad going there. The drive, I was dreading the drive. I didn't even feel like a vacation until I was actually there. I left at 5:30 in the morning on Thursday, and we got around the city. The traffic was a crawl all the way from the airport all the way into the loop. But once we got past the loop, the skies parted, clear skies, and easy peasy all the way.
Okay.
And the construction wasn't bad. So I made a good time, even better time coming back despite all the rain. We had all that rain Sunday. Oh my God, It was nasty. But yeah, I had a nice visit and saw my uncle and my cousins, and it was very nice. Saturday, had some time. My cousin Ken and we was chilling, and we had to go get dinner for the group. So we went into Erie, and he's like, "So we got an hour to kill. What do you want to do?" So I don't know. So I did a quick Google search, and I found this little collectible shop in Erie. And
saw the picture.
Yeah, popped in there, and it was great. It was fun. Found a couple of figures. I'll have to check that place again if I'm in the area. But that was nice. But yeah,
you see the Oneaters?
The Oneaters in Erie, PA.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did hear. That it was on my playlist on the way home.
Was it that thing
you do?
That thing you do.
But no, I had a good time. It was great. Like I said, I was just dreading the drive up there because I hadn't done it in 5 years. Actually, I kind of did it last year when I was with you, Ivan. Last year we went and saw Matt.
Well, yeah, we went to Kokomo, and then we went to where Matt was living.
Yeah,
So,
up in
where
Euclid.
got
He was there in Euclid. Now he's moved further west, further east. So it's even longer drive to get to him now.
So what, you're driving through Notre Dame territory and all that crap, right?
Well, up northern. Well, last year we were, but last year this last week, the streets took the Indiana toll road and then the Ohio Turnpike until Toledo, and then we went from there through Cleveland, and then that was it. So it was nice.
What is this place they call Cleveland?
Dusty, my friend.
What was that, Ivan?
What is this place they call Cleveland?
Cleveland, yes.
It's the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
the not at all Hall of Fame.
I knew this was coming. I knew something like this was coming. I had this feeling that Ivan was like, screw Cleveland, screw the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, totally screw the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Fuck them. Okay.
All right, what's wrong with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
It's my old dialogue. It's already been
it's been
on a bunch of shows already, so
Ivan
no need to reiterate the point of how it's called the Not at All Hall of Fame, because the people that are supposed to be in there are not at all there.
Yeah.
At all. So
like who?
Oh, come on. Don't have me start going into this whole dialogue of who should be there and who should not be there.
Okay.
You can always submit your name there as to who you get to be inducted.
Yeah, but in the end, it's always a committee of people who are going to look it over, and it's all about the draw. You know, who are the people that are going to draw?
Tickets.
Well, they got a museum to buy to sell tickets for.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I get it. But the thing is that there are some people there that, for whatever reason, they haven't made their way there. Okay, yeah, I'm standing on the morals of Mr. Link Ray. Okay, yeah, I know. One song that was banned, an instrumental. Why is that a thing? Okay, I get it. But to me, it is a thing, because without this one record, the gateway between the easygoing rock and rollers of the 50s would have never met up with the harder, edgier things of the 60s without guys who went ahead and decided, I'm going to turn my guitar up to 10, 11, or 12 and beat these choppy chords and, piss off engineers. But I made a damn good record, and if it wasn't for a producer's daughter who liked it just as much as I loved making it, it wouldn't have been a thing on a milquetoast label called Cadence. But yes, I'm talking about Mr. Link Ray and his Raymen, which, okay, that's a whole nother thing that I could go into. But at the same time, also too, the fact that they have moved, Alan Freed, the very reason why the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is there in the first place, is
Dick Clark?
Short.
They moved the tomb of Alan Freed?
Yeah, his ashes are no longer there.
Oh.
They moved his tomb out. They gave him this. They gave him this wonderful headstone, but now he's not at the site for which it was created in the first place. It's a travesty. And then of course, I look at the list of the people that get in, and I'm not saying that these people don't deserve. Some of these people don't deserve to be there.
You just said.
Wait a minute. Some of these people deserve to be there. There's a lot of them that don't deserve to be there.
In Ivan's opinion, they are more worthy than some others.
Wow.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So the point that you're Dungishin. But that's where I stand on that whole thing. And until they make the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame something worthy of its name, I'm still going to throw rocks at it. I'm still going to drop my drawers and shake my Winnie at it and say, no, no, no. And I'm going to go ahead and shoulder my ass side down, because you know what? Yeah. And as far as like some of their displays, yeah. When did it become that? You want to see something really cool? Go to the Museum of Broadcast Communications and see rock and roll and politics. Now, there's something worthy of your time if you're in Chicago.
Yeah.
There's something that you could see. There's something that you need to look at. Here's something that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame could take a lot of notes from. So.
Yeah, but the Broadcast Museum and Hall of Fame in Chicago, they have their issues too.
Well, in what regard?
There's been issues with them as well, with Bruce Dumont over the years, in terms of some of the same things that you're talking about. And there's been eyebrows raised about who's gotten in and when and how soon and all that kind of stuff. They've played to the general public a lot too. Like, for example, when Wonder Woman was hot, they had that whole Wonder Woman exhibit down there too. So don't think that they don't do it either.
I'm not saying that certain places don't do.
Well, they need attractions.
They need attractions and over-the-top exhibitionism. Of course, they need something to draw. But let's not turn the whole thing into one big draw. Let's give some respect to those who I think deserve that kind of respect, that kind of acknowledgement, that kind of situation where you're kind of like, oh, yeah, it's kind of like, it reads like Ken Burns, man. There's another thing I'm going to go after in a little bit of this show. The whole country western documentary thing.
Oh.
You can't go after Ken Burns. He's a national treasure.
Well, for one, I did not go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Ivan, this week last. But how many times have you been there, Ivan?
I've been there twice.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
You saw it for yourself, twice. You evaluated it, and now you have your informed opinion.
No offense, Ivan. If we get an opportunity to broadcast from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we're doing it. Not that we're going to.
But if we did, I don't care. I'll broadcast from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, don't say anything bad about him.
Don't expect me to say anything really good about it, but
I'll say anything bad. We'd like to go back there.
You cannot control me.
That's not true. All we have to do is basically make sure the penis surgery goes differently.
So let's see.
I'm gonna send you it in a jar if it goes okay. But
yikes!
You'll remember me forever. In a vial of formaldehyde.
And the rest of my weekend was good too.
Okay, let's go back to my guest.
What else did you do the rest of your weekend?
Well, I took the plunge. I took the pre-order for Disney Plus, so I'm in for a year. When it launches in November, I'm ready.
Okay.
I've committed. So
he's pot committed to Disney Plus.
Yep.
Have they said right away how fast they're going to launch some of the new shows, or is it going to? They haven't really said, have they? I
presume they're going to just steadily drip them out. There will be shows on the launch day, I'm sure. But other shows, obviously, they're filming now that they're going to be finished later on as the months go on.
For the next 4 days, Gravity Falls.
That's what I mean, because I'm kind of sitting here and I'm like, I came to a conclusion. I was looking at some of the list of stuff. I'm like, am I really all that interested in a lot that's there except for the new content? I don't know. I feel like if I get it, I'm really getting it for the new content. I don't know that I'm getting it for
classic content.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm really. I don't know that I need a vault of movies. Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe I have to look at the list of TV shows. I didn't look.
And I'm sure, like Netflix, they'll be rotating movies and shows in and out to gauge interest and see which ones are greater draw.
I will admit, the entire library of Simpsons episodes is somewhat appealing, but I don't know.
20-plus years of Simpsons episodes.
I watched the season premiere of the South Park last week.
Oh, did you?
And it was all right. It wasn't... It seemed just like more South Park. And I don't know. And maybe I understand why I'm only seeing like 1 or 2 episodes a year. Like, if one, like, there's a hot button issue, I see a headline, also, this South Park takes on this thing or whatever, then okay, then I'll watch it. But this one was more about the continuation of Randy Marsh's marijuana farm.
Okay.
That was from last season was great with that, and the 2-parter finale from last season was when Amazon built a fulfillment center inside South Park. And Jeff Bezos was like the aliens from Talos 4 in the original Star Trek series. That's great.
God.
I shall return to Planet Bezos.
I like I said, I can't recall watching an episode. I don't really recall watching an episode since I don't know how many I've watched since the movie. That's a long time.
Oh, there were some good ones over the past years.
Same here.
Since the movie. There's been some good ones. One of my favorites, I think, was the one where the kids play Warcraft.
Oh, do they?
I like that one. Yeah.
I feel like everybody's done that episode, though, because didn't Big Bang Theory do that episode, too, where they did, like, the Warcraft thing, where it was Sheldor is online, and Penny gets hooked, which is kind of hysterical, but...
Yeah.
Where Penny ends up getting hooked on Warcraft, or whatever the hell they call it in that, but, so you bit the bullet and you're doing Disney Plus, yeah. I figure eventually.
Yeah.
We'll see what shows are available at launch. We'll get more info as the weeks get closer to launch day.
Yeah.
I caught a couple clips of Aladdin here and there. Because now it's, the footage is leaking onto YouTube, so. And I was thinking about the some informative videos, but what's happening with the lawsuit with Google and how it's changing content creation on the review sites, like if it's intended for children or whatever, like toy review sites are going to get demonetized or something like that. It's not going to look good. But it was interesting though. I had a nice week though. It was good. It was sort of a it was a two-day work week. So now I'm back to the grindstone, and the kids didn't leave too bad a mess for me. So
good.
So
how much Halloween candy have you sold?
We're setting up Christmas, dude. Screw Halloween.
Oh, dude. God.
I know. I just walked past it and I just shield your eyes, Mike.
Yeah, seriously. So, Ivan, did you do your groovy DJ thing at all over the weekend, or no?
No, not at all. I mean, I did a couple of appearances on Facebook Live, and of course to be shot down like always. But aside from that, no, nothing. This weekend, I have the hold down at the LA Corral this Sunday on the 6th. And then, depending on how fast I bounce back on my feet, I hope in time to get to some of the other things this month, especially the Halloween party over at Cafe Mustache.
Wait, you're doing country western?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Hop along Rivera.
Yeah.
Yeah. You haven't seen my crazy pictures on Facebook?
Of what?
All your pictures on Facebook are crazy, Ivan.
Yeah, I was gonna
well,
say.
yeah, they're crazy, but
you got to be careful about those Facebook Lives. They'll put you in Facebook jail.
You know what? Let them catch me. But all I say is that as far as I'm concerned, yeah, as far as what I've been doing, yeah, the hold down at the LA Corral has been happening now. This will be its 3rd month. I started it off with an 11-hour set when I first did it, and then it came with overwhelming
11
response.
hours of wait, stop.
What?
11 hours of country music.
Yeah. And I did it.
Get out of here.
I did it. Yes, I did.
Why?
Because I could. And because I kind of like some of that
Because
country
they
music.
pay you for it, right? I hope.
No, I mean, they paid me for it, yeah, but the payment wasn't the deal as to why I wanted to do it. Originally, the idea was brought up by one of the people that was working over at the arcade. And he says, yeah, because he ended up playing some country western over the speakers. So I'm thinking, hell, I could do that. And he goes, and he kind of called me out on it. He goes, really? And I said, yeah. He goes, all right. So what I did was I took my usual layback, wayback lounge, which is all jazz and pop and exotic music, and I turned it into the, the LA Corral situation. And I figured, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go do it big. So I did. I did 11 hours that day.
Hop along, Ivan.
Yes, it was Hop Along Ivan. And not only did I just do all the stuff that you got to know, or you should know, but I did a lot of stuff that you probably weren't going to hear no place else, and that was the draw.
That's okay. Nobody wanted to hear that anyway.
But they did, though. I had a full house.
I only had 2 pair.
Huh?
I had 3 of a kind.
Oh, okay, you boys. Anyway, yeah, but that's how that turned out. And ever since, everybody's been.
I think you need to give back your rock and roll card.
Hey, I could do anything I want in my musical universe, dude. I'm not just for this or for that. I mean, I love all kinds of music.
Opera?
And, yes.
You've crossed the line.
Opera?
Country western is too far.
Viking music.
Viking music.
I've done operettas. I mean, no operas, but I've done operettas.
How about Gregorian chant?
I have done some Gregorian chants, actually.
Oh.
But see, what the thing is, all right, being a disc jockey, and you've got this wealth of people that are expanding their horizons beyond the usual forms of dance or disco or any of that. You got people that actually just go ahead and they create these foundations of other types of music mixed in with other types of music. So
yes, but country isn't a type of music.
Yes, it is, Jeff.
Yes, it is, Jeff.
Actually, country today is more rock than it's ever been.
Exactly. So which when you kind of look at it, the whole country-politan feel of country and western music starts
country-politan?
Yes, country-politan. It is a word. Look it up.
All right, fine.
Yeah, country-politan started as far back as Patsy Cline and Jim Reeves, and a number of other artists. Eddie Arnold was crossing over from country to pop music, country-politan. So with that being said, country has crossed a number of borders, just like Motown was making black music for white people, okay, and whatever. So the thing about it is that the whole cross-genre, crossing the border thing has gone along in all of music the whole time music has been around. Everything touches off something else somewhere at some time, at some point.
Yeah, rock and roll is just the blues sped up.
Thank you.
So did Ivan play Old Town Road?
Pardon me? Oh, here, I'll give you.
Jeff is asking if you played Old Town Road.
Old Town Road? No, I didn't play Old Town Road.
Why not?
Because it's not on vinyl.
Yes, it is. It's got to be on vinyl.
No, it's not.
It's really not?
No.
Wow.
Not everybody's jumped on the vinyl train as of late. I mean, there's still some holdouts out there.
Joe Biden did.
Well, that's a whole nother genre now. A whole nother thing. But, yeah, I mean,
you know what happens when you play the country records backwards, though, right?
Yes, the devil comes up. I know.
No, you get your house back, you get your car back, you get your wife back, you get your dog back, you get everything back.
There is, there is an exclusive 7-inch vinyl of Old Town Road with Lil Nas X.
Ha!
And Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah, exclusive, which means it's probably a record store day thing, which, of course, what's going to end up happening is the hoarders out there are going to buy all the copies of it, go to eBay, and charge 3 times the price over it. It's not a thing.
Yeah, they're asking for, there's people on the popular auction site. I'm not even going to name it because they don't give us any money. They're going for, they're asking $45, $50, $60 for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money for a 7-inch record.
Yep.
Believe it or not, I have sold records many times that.
Well, yeah, but we're talking about Old Time Road. We're not talking about Old Town Road. We're not talking about like something like worth something.
Well, what about Tom Petty? Wildflowers, that album, 94. Do you know how much the albums are going for today?
No.
Nope.
Yeah, right now, anywhere in the vicinity of $350 to $500.
Wow.
And this is 1994.
I think I bought that CD because didn't it have Last Dance with Mary Jane on it? Or is that the hits record?
No, that's a hits record.
Okay.
Yeah, the real trick is, Mike, back in the 80s when like all like the hot records were like the Purple Rain and the Like a Virgin and all that stuff. That stuff probably right now would be worth a fortune.
Actually, no.
Oh, did you guys see the?
Figures as much.
I saw the thing on Facebook with all those knockoff Halloween costumes with the goofy names on them.
Oh, with the blow up Halloween costumes, those stupid things.
No, not the blow up Halloween costume. It was the knockoffs. They're like unofficial like costumes of famous things and stuff. Like a Prince costume would be called like Purple Music Man.
Oh yeah, yeah, I've seen stuff like that where they try to get around the copyright.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, there's that stuff. Yeah.
Like a Darth Vader costume would be called like Black Space Cowboy Dude or something like that.
Yeah, seriously.
Racist. Yeah, Halloween's coming. We're in this episode will be the first in October.
My favorite is, have you seen some of the ones from, have you seen like some of the knockoffs of like some of these toys that are out there?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
There was one I saw where there was a pack where it said Avengers, and it's like Spider-Man, the Hulk, I can't remember who else it is, and Batman.
Yeah, and a Power Ranger or something. You know.
Yeah, something like that. And it's like, wait,
Yeah.
there seems to be a problem here. I don't know what it is.
Endorsement.
I've seen those like at the 7 Mile Fair.
Really?
Yeah, like
Those look
just
funny.
KOs of yeah.
Where they have that stuff, it's hysterical.
Yeah.
What
They had a
parent
knockoff
buys
of RoboCop called Robert Cop. I need to find it.
Good Lord.
It was like blue. Oh well, it's cool.
How do you imagine how you got to feel when you bring that home for your kid? And your kid goes, "Batman, not in the Avengers."
Oh man!
Batman, not in the Avengers. Where do you get this
This paint
from?
on this toy tastes like lead.
Yes.
Oh shit!
Are there knockoff Transformers like that too? Because that'd be hysterical.
Yeah, some of the unofficial third-party names. Actually, they're using. They're releasing a set. There's one company called Fans Toys that's releasing a set of an unofficial, obviously, of the aerial bots, and they're all jets. So they're naming them all after like Top Gun characters.
Okay.
It's nice tongue-in-cheek, little nink and a wad. I mean,
Wink
wink and a nod.
Nick and a wad. Yikes.
Yes.
That's the name of the episode.
Thank you.
I don't know, but well. Yeah. So,
No, we're just going to call it Ivan's penis, I think. This one.
yeah, maybe.
Well, if you want to call it Ivan's penis, we need to talk more about it.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we
I
do.
still can't believe that you do country western. What are you thinking? Shame on you.
What? What's so bad about country and western? Come
It's
on.
country
Jeff's got a
western.
grudge, man. Jeff's all about, I hate Endgame. I hate country music. Like,
I don't really hate
Hey,
it.
I'm
we
all
won't-
like, I hate the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I'm like, I'm okay.
I like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I don't hate the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame much. I just
Much.
Much.
but I don't like some of their policies. Okay. Besides, I go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just for a couple seconds. Go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Wow, I get to see Sam Phillips in studio. Cool. I get to go see my favorite band, Alan Freed, and this big board that was interactive, and get to hear the disc jockeys. Cool. Let me see the remnants of Otis Redding's plane, the one that went down that killed 7 people. Okay, let me go ahead and walk up to this little pedestal and look at John Lennon's glasses, the ones he wore when he got shot at the Delta, or at the whatever they call it.
It's pretty
Now
grim,
some
man.
people want to see that stuff.
It's pretty grim.
Yikes. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes.
What do you want them to show?
Films, videos,
They do
television
show films and
programs.
videos.
Yeah, but I think I think they just need to kind of concentrate more about being full of information and splendor and things like that than just the whole gaper, knee jerk effect of, oh my God, I am only 2 feet away from a pair of glasses that John
Hold on a
Lennon-
second. Whoa.
and he was shot with his glasses, and they got
Stop.
broken.
Stop.
And then of course,
Hold on a second.
I gotta go ahead.
Ivan, what
What?
is the most popular? What is the most popular museum in all of Chicago?
I don't know.
Come on.
I haven't been to
The Field Museum?
You would really say the
Museum of
Field
Science and Industry.
There we go. Why is it the most popular, Ivan?
Because it has science and industry
Yeah.
in it.
And it's interactive, and you can go in and do things inside.
Right. Well, that's why they want to see that stuff.
Yeah, I don't mind looking at a human heart. I got one. I don't mind looking at a beautiful display
Are you sure
of
you
a
got
train. Huh?
one? Nothing.
I don't mind. Jesus. What the fuck, man?
Ivan has a heart. I'm pretty sure he has one.
I know.
We know he has lungs. He's been coughing the whole show.
Right.
I don't get it, okay? I don't know if I have one after the 7th, but
Why would you not have one after the 7th?
well, you
That's not
say
where they're going. If they're going there, Ivan will have a lot of money to put towards the show because he's going to be like a millionaire.
okay, I could be one of the several gender changing males in the world, Well, there's more of them now. Never been.
But they want stuff that is gaper for people. That's why they got the submarine. That's why they got the coal
Yeah,
ride and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's cool stuff to look at. I don't want to.
People think is John. What do you think people think of John Lennon's glasses? They think it's cool.
I think it's morbid though. I don't want to look at John Lennon's glasses knowing that he was in them the day he got
I
shot.
wonder how much they paid Yoko for those.
Well, if it's any indication, because she still can't sing worth a damn. Have you seen her lately in some of her performances? You don't
She's
wanna.
performing?
No, I don't even know she performs anymore.
Oh, go on the internet and
No.
see what she's doing lately, and see if that isn't sliding down a razor
Once
blade.
I'm done listening to the Squares the Roundtable podcast, available on Apple and Google Play, we'll check out the internet for Yoko Ono's fantastic performances.
Not really.
No,
Believe-
I'm not going to do that.
No way in hell.
Put it this way, take a knife to your penis, and that'll be just about the size of it. Anyway,
Yikes.
yeah. Sax player, Yoko Ono. Okay. Should I describe it, or should I just let you discover it?
We'll figure it out for ourselves.
No, yeah.
And okay, then I won't go there. Thank you. Phew, you spared me that.
Yeah, unlike
Anything
the-
else
unlike-
does anybody hate this week that we want to talk about?
What else do we hate? Actually, should I get into shows that I didn't like this week?
Sure. Seeing as we're on the negative Nancy
Okay.
here.
Yeah, it seems
well,
like
I
you're
told
doing
you I
that.
didn't like Glow. I didn't like Glow.
Because it was
You
slow.
like blow.
I didn't
Does it-
like Glow.
Does it blow?
Yeah, it was slow, so it blows.
So it blows.
It's a no for
So
Glow.
no.
Unicorn.
No show for Glow.
So Unicorn is a 30-minute one of those it's not like a sitcom. It's like The Office where they do it like where there's no audience or anything like that. But it's I can't remember. There's a bunch of people in there that have been in a bunch of other shows that are really, really good. And it looked funny. And I gotta tell you, the first episode was so boring. It was unbelievable. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. It was you know what it is? It's the guy from that Waylon Goggins or whatever his name is the main character. And then you remember the guy who plays in the Hot Tub Time Machine, the guy who plays Lou?
I never saw the Hot Tub Time Machine.
You never saw Hot Tub Time Machine? That was actually halfway decent. You should see that at some point.
Was it Jason Bateman, I think, was in that one?
No, not Jason Bateman. No, the other guy. Rob something or other. The guy who's in Ballers. Actually, it's funny. That guy is in there from Ballers. And
Robert
there's
Wool?
another guy in there from... No, not Robert Wool. That's
Arliss.
That's Arliss.
Did they have the woman from Electra Woman and Dinah Girl? Did they have them too?
No. Anyway, I didn't think it was that good. I probably will drop that one. But I will tell you though. Okay, so now we'll get to the stuff that I did like. I thought,
which ain't much.
I thought Perfect Harmony was interesting. I do like Bradley Whitford. I enjoy his stuff. And then what's her name? One of the chicks from. I'm gonna get in trouble for calling her a chick. What's her name? The one from Pitch Perfect, that Anna Camp woman. It's not bad. That's not bad at all. It needs a little bit of work, but it's somewhat interesting. It's not nearly funny enough, but what else? There's one on CBS called All Rise. It's about this black woman who becomes a judge who is a prosecutor. That one was halfway interesting. And then the Jimmy Smits thing with the Bluff City thing was better than I expected. Those are the ones that I've seen. And then the other one was so Greg Rucka, who does comic book writing, is the one who did that Stumptown that's got what's her name, Colby Smulders who plays Maria Hill.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
Okay,
a little quirky but good.
Yeah, I've seen trailers for those through the internets. It looks good. I might check it out.
Yeah, Stumptown wasn't bad. It still needs a little bit of... It's a little quirky at points. And Colby Smulders is a little too cool for the room, if you know what I mean. But she just seems like she's like too much of a... I'm a badass and you're not, but I'm in big trouble and my life sucks. I don't know. I give it... It's worth watching. I think it'll be okay. I kind of am rooting for it in some ways because, like I said, Greg Rucka, who does a lot of DC writing and has done some Marvel writing, is one of the guys on that who's one of the guys I think who's writing or producing that show. So I'm kind of rooting for that because it's always good to see comic book writers doing well.
Yeah, so you're doing the rootin' tootin' for that, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, I hope it works out for him. I really do. Because I know he's got other stuff out there that he'd like to be, doing more than just being out there writing comics these days. But
just adding some spice to his life, huh?
Yeah. Well, hey, money is money. You want more? Hey, look.
Hey, everybody wants more money.
Yeah. Well, and it's working in TV is a little different than working in comics. So.
Well, yeah.
But and you want to expand your empire, but. Those are the ones those are the new shows I've seen so far. I didn't get a chance to watch Emergence yet. I have that on tape. I really don't feel like watching it, though. I'm tired of these shows where it's like, oh, something happened, and now we have to figure it all out, and it's going to be long and boring and slow. I have enough of those shows.
You want something that's satisfying right in the first 4 minutes.
Well, yeah, that would be, well.
Yeah.
No, I don't need that, but they're like Mike knows.
5
Mike
minutes?
will understand what I'm talking about, which is, you have these shows like Lost where they go on for all time and eternity, and they don't really answer the mysteries.
And they're just
or all that
meandering
shit.
about.
And they're just meandering about, and you have a feeling at some point they don't have a fucking clue where they're going, and it's like
Because
some
they're
of these shows
ad-libbing the
are
whole
intriguing.
thing?
And the problem is some of these shows are intriguing, and sometimes you're like, is this show going to work, or is this the show that I'm going to get all the way through, like, to the end, and they're not going to renew it, and then I'm just going to be pissed because I don't know what the fuck happens.
Could be.
Right. It's very it's very hit or miss on those shows where it's like you're kind of like, do I want to keep watching? Because it's certainly like Manifest was that way, but Manifest got a season 2, so thank God. Manifest was kind of like that last year, where it was kind of like that, and you're like, this is going to do the Lost thing, isn't it? And I'm like, okay, well, let's see. Let's hope it gets a season 2. If not, well, I'm going to be annoyed again.
Unsatisfying television. It's what's on TV tonight.
You watching anything, Ivan?
What I watch is pretty much of no consequence because, I mean, I have free television. So
this is free television? Everything I said is on free television. Everything is network that I just said.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll have to go ahead and see it because, I mean, basically, being an old codge and everything like that, I tend to fall into wormholes of old television, which I do watch a lot of, I have to say. I mean, I clock a lot of hours just, I guess being waxing nostalgia, if you will.
Oh, he like watching MeTV all day.
Yeah.
Well, BTV, Star TV, Heroes and Icons.
Heroes and Icons, yep, good one.
Yeah, I get my fill of all of the Star Trek I could ever want to watch.
Did you finish the Toys That Made Us series?
No, I haven't yet.
How many other ones? Which ones did you watch?
Well, other than the ones that we watched together, I was starting. Wait a minute. I was in the middle of watching the one on Barbie, but I got called away, so I need to get back.
So you've watched one almost.
One almost.
Okay.
Yeah,
because season 1 and 2 is out on DVD this week. So I think I might pick it up because it got some bonus content that I want to read.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, because the one we saw on Transformers was outstanding. I thought it was great.
Yeah, there's a couple in season 2 that are kind of boring, but season 1 was solid, and it's really good, interesting toy history. And it's still
What do they talk about the GoBots?
They do talk about GoBots because they preceded Transformers by about 6 months in the United States.
Right.
Yep,
that died out, right?
Yeah. The fiction wasn't as good, and the figures were smaller. They were good for
and the quality wasn't there either.
Yeah, Transformers had larger ones. They had more interesting looking designs than the GoBots.
Better makeups as far as like stories and.
Yeah, obviously the cartoon was not as good. The Hanna-Barbera GoBots cartoon was not as good as the Transformers one for its time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd recommend finishing those if you can.
I will.
Does you or Julie have Netflix?
I don't have Netflix, but I can just grab whatever on my phone. If I get it there. So.
Well, you need a Netflix account to watch them.
Well,
unless
what
you
I'm
get
going to do.
DDV.
Well, here's what I'm doing. In fact, it's funny you should mention about getting, what the hell was I going to say? Okay, I had a senior moment. Sorry, getting internet and stuff. I'm about to go ahead and fire off $50 a month to get an Xfinity. Because I got Netflix on my television. All I just need is the internet, and once I got that, then I've got Netflix. So
you have a Netflix account?
The television. I have one of those smart TVs.
Yeah. So you can watch Netflix to the TV. We still have to pay Netflix.
Yes.
Ivan.
Well, okay. Well, that's why I'm going to get. That's why I'm going to get Xfinity, so I could have internet, so I could watch Netflix, and so I could watch Vudu and Hulu and all the rest of it. Which
you have to pay for some of that stuff, though.
Yes, I do. But until I know how much any of that's going to be, I have to wait. So we'll see. I mean, I know Hulu you can get for $5.99 a month, which I know that. And I know some of the other streaming services. There's one that's out there that is absolutely free. Do you guys happen to remember the name of it? I know there was like an advertisement on the internet, and it's got a couple of the members of Avengers on it. They're saying, "You're paying what for that? You're paying what for Hulu? Why not get this when it's free?"
Huh?
But I can't think of the name of what it is.
Well, there's a lot of free content when you subscribe, but that's with a subscription, though.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about, Ivan.
Well, it's out there.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, anyway. So, the point I'm making here is, I got to expand my horizons in order to be more in the swing of things that we talk out here on the show. But, so that's all. I mean, I'm working on it.
You been to your local comic book store lately?
No, I haven't. I still have to pick up the last 3 episodes of Unnatural. They finished up the series, and now Mirka has moved on to a new series called Mercy. It's called Mercy, which I'm kind of interested in. But she also has another set of characters called Paprika and Dill, which I'm hoping, because she's been putting a lot of content on Instagram about these two characters, and I'm hoping that she designs a story to go with these characters, because they're very interesting. I'm liking them a lot. So, Paprika is your naughty little devil woman who is in love with an even naughtier angel by the name of Dill. So, okay, I'm going to leave it right there.
Okay.
Okay.
Let us know if you check it out.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's been I'll need to sit there and see if I can start grabbing some graphic novels from the library or something, or see what I can pick up, just to start looking at things.
You should check out the Unnatural series. It's really, really good. It's well drawn.
I'm also slightly at the mercy of whatever the library has, so we'll have to see. I don't think they'll have that.
Well, fire off a few dollars.
I want to read Kingdom Come before the Crisis special on CW.
Yeah, well, you got a little bit of time.
I saw a billboard for Batwoman on CW. Is that show started yet?
Not yet. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to. The CW stuff has not started yet. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to get.
The CW moved, didn't it? Become part of.
Yeah, well, in Chicago it did.
Yeah, it's now part of the U. The U now. UCW.
Yeah,
the UCW, is that a wrestling federation?
No. Well, actually, no. We do need to talk about
the BBC.
About wrestling. There's some stuff. There's quite a bit of interesting stuff going on with wrestling at this point.
Not Glow.
Okay.
No, not Glow,
and not BBC.
BBC. No, I don't know about BBC. That's an entirely different thing.
It's still a theoretical
unless you're talking about
name
the British thing, yeah.
Hasn't happened yet. Probably won't. But if it does, we'll let you know.
I don't care. Anyway.
Okay, so
what's going on in wrestling?
Actually, yeah. So CW starts their slate.
They start cleaning their slate.
Their slate of programming starts this coming Sunday. Mm-hmm. And I'll admit, I'm curious to see what the Nancy Drew show looks like.
Well,
it'll be interesting to see how that. I think, if I remember correctly, it's the guy who does. I think the people involved with that have done Veronica Mars. So I have a feeling the real question is, how close will it be to like Veronica Mars versus, Nancy Drew? But we'll see.
Well, you're trying to take something that was written in the 40s or the 50s and just updating it to new standard.
Well, they did it with Riverdale, so I mean, maybe they.
Yeah, they did. So it could be good. It could be good.
I'm willing to give it a shot. I kind of like that they're taking some of these older properties and they're finding ways back to bring them back like this. I really do.
Oh no, I have no aversion of that. That's a great idea.
Right. And to what Mike is asking, yeah, so wrestling's got some interesting stuff going on here in October. First of all, I think we've talked about here in the past that Dusty Rhodes' kid, Cody Rhodes, and a few other wrestlers got together with a guy whose dad owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they put together a new wrestling promotion called AEW, better known as All Elite Wrestling. And Chris Jericho's over there, and Jim Ross is there, and the guy who played Dean Ambrose is there, but his name is they changed his name to Johnny Moxley. So anyway, they got a deal with TNT, and their debut is Wednesday night, and I believe they have a 2-hour show on Wednesday night, starting this Wednesday. Opposite them is the WWE has a third brand called NXT, and to combat, the USA Network is running NXT live opposite that show on Wednesday nights for 2 hours. So it should be interesting because we're kind of going to get like a little bit of a wrestling war, so to speak, kind of like back in the day with the old Monday Night Wars, except it's not going to be necessarily the straight-up talent of the WWE. It's going to be their minor leagues, which is incredibly, incredibly popular. And they've already started. They've been showing the first hour of NXT on USA for a couple weeks now. It's been the numbers have been okay. I'm curious to see what happens when the two shows go head-to-head. The other thing is Friday is when the WWE SmackDown is going to be on Fox, and it'll start being on Fox. And if you've been watching any of the Fox programming, it's like they're like everywhere talking about this thing. And supposedly,
does Fox still have NASCAR?
I don't know. Maybe
on Sundays.
I don't know.
Of course, that's winding down now. I mean, there's still races.
You got football.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
But
because Lord knows baseball has taken a hit this last few weeks.
Well, no, baseball hasn't. It just has in Chicago. Just has in Chicago.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting because they gave the WWE a lot of money to be on Fox, and I'm curious to see what they do. I know they've already confirmed that The Rock will be there this week, but that doesn't mean he'll be there next week because he certainly won't be.
Exactly. He'll just be there the one time, the one shot.
Right.
For the draw.
They want a good opening premiere, and they got a bunch of people, but they're going to have to figure out. They're going to have to figure out how they're going to
sustain
They're going to sustain an audience because I'll be honest, that show, unless they make some serious changes, that show that they're bringing over when it was on USA on Tuesday nights was not drawing well, unless they've been slowly, but unless they're going to build out some new storylines and really make it work. I don't know. I just don't.
So it's got all the appeal of somebody taking a shit in the toilet right now.
Well, we'll see. I'm honestly, the only thing I will give them say this is, what else are you watching on Friday night if you're at home? Because there ain't much on regular network TV on a Friday night. So You're talking about programming a live wrestling show on Friday nights. That's not, the bar's not super high here.
Right.
But we'll see. But then again, like I said, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I mean, the first show out the gate, they are giving us Brock Lesnar versus Kofi Kingston for the title. I'm curious to see where that goes. Just
to address something, Jeff, as far as the viewership of the people watching these kind of programs, do you think are they actually trying to cater to a younger audience because of the programming, or do you think it's just the older viewers just waxing nostalgia for what was or what might have been?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. I think there's still quite a bit of wrestling fans out there. I just don't. That's part of the WWE's problem too, is that they want that younger audience, and yet they want to do certain things to skew to that older audience, and they've had problems with it. It'll be interesting to see what Fox. Now, the talk is Fox wants them to get edgier on Friday night than they've been lately, because they've kind of dumbed down their programming to like about a PG-13 programming at times, and lately and the rumor has it that Fox wants them to kind of go back to what you might have saw back in the day of the Attitude Era when it was really hot. But we'll see, because you also got to be careful about people and how they're going to work and how much and how that's all going to happen. So that's crazy too.
Also, too, you got to think of the climate that we're in right now, and how a lot of what they did in wrestling back then. Do you think that would translate into the now?
Well, the WWE is still one of the most popular brands on social media that's out there right now. They still get quite a bit of people who are looking at the content. I just wonder sometimes that I kind of laugh because sometimes I have to admit I'm not watching the show. If I hear there's something interesting, I go on Facebook, I see if I can find it. If not, I go on YouTube, and I could probably find it in five minutes, and I didn't have to watch the whole show. The trick is that they need to make it where they need to make it where people want to watch the whole show.
Well, yeah, they want to keep it fully engaged.
And in fairness, that's been the problem lately is that they're not writing a good enough show to do that. And that's unfortunate, but that's we'll see. We'll see if they can be better at it.
Just a matter of just putting all of the elements and making them flow together in a way that once you've turned it on, you're going to stay there.
Well, right. And unfortunately, in the last decade, that's not been what you're finding from WWE TV. Especially once what's his name was gone. Once especially they haven't made a lot of stars, a lot of new stars, and they lost a few people who would make that work for them a little bit better. CM Punk went away, which was smart on CM Punk's part. Good for him. John Cena is making movies, so John Cena.
But are there any new, younger, fresher personalities?
Well, ironically,
all the time. That's where wrestling is.
Well, the irony is that probably ironically, some of the hottest acts right now in the WWE are the women.
Okay.
So, last year, WrestleMania was headlined by Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair. That's the first time we've ever had a women's main event WrestleMania. So end the show. So women's wrestling right now. Some of the women's wrestling right now is far. Let me say this: I think there were some great women wrestlers back in the day, but they didn't let them do nearly what some of these women wrestlers are allowed to do now. There's more of a level of quality in terms of the number of wrestlers available who are women right now than there's ever been before.
Which, that's good. Let's just hope it doesn't fall into the novelty category.
It's not.
It's the flavor of the day. We've got women wrestlers. Let's go ahead and let's make them a centerpiece for all things women's wrestling, okay? And we'll see how far we can drain this out until it's no longer a commodity.
Yeah, but
doesn't seem like they're doing that, Ivan.
No, Ivan, that's not what they're doing at all. Matter of fact, one of the people who's been front and center in a lot of their advertising has been Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch is probably the hottest wrestler in the company.
Okay.
They cooled her off a little bit, but she was probably one of the hottest wrestlers in the company for the last year with what she was doing.
I'm just hoping that they treat this sensibility with the respect and integrity that it deserves. And this is just not another excuse for them to go ahead and say, oh boy, women wrestlers, hot, half naked. Oh boy.
Oh no, they haven't been doing that for a while. If anything, that's one of the comments I hear from certain people is that really in reality, some of these women don't really dress all nearly as sexy as they used to back in the Attitude Era.
Well, that's
it's
good.
It's treated more like sport now.
A real sport.
They're treated more like sport than they ever have before. So,
all right. Well,
if anything, that's I mean, Ivan, let me give you perspective. Okay.
Lay it on me.
Sunday night, there's a pay-per-view, and one of the main events is going to be Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks inside the Hell in the Cell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking about a structure that's like an enclosed cage that's 20 feet high.
Damn.
Okay. And they're doing, and this is like, in fairness, depending on how you work this match, it can be really, really dangerous. This is the structure where Foley fell 20 feet in the air through an announce table. Okay?
Oh my gosh.
So I don't think that that's going to happen, but no, they've been treating the women's wrestling in the WWE has come very, very far in the last 4 or 5 years. So no, it's not. And if anything, there's a part of me where I'm like, they should have their own women's show. There's that many women that are that good that some of them are getting lost in the shuffle because they don't have enough room on the show between them and the men. They don't have enough room to put all these people on.
Okay, because see right now, I got on my screen here, I got Sasha Banks cheats to beat Alexis Bliss brawls with Becky Lynch. Okay, because I've got that off of got that off a site here. Then Becky Lynch appears on the Fox NFL desk. Titus O'Neil on Tamron Hall. Let's see, and then
well, I don't think he was really on Tamron Hall, but he was probably talking to her.
Okay. Becky Lynch asks Mick Foley for some brutal advice ahead of Hell. Okay.
What website are you on?
I just went online and
we have that.
I popped off Becky Lynch, and I came up with a number of top stories here on my phone. Okay. And I'm getting perspective here.
Okay.
So
headline search,
okay, on WrestleZone, that's where I got the first one. Second one was Wrestling News.
I don't even know who that is.
And then let me see. I'm just telling you where I'm getting this stuff from. There's Pink Villa. Seth Rollins deletes and reactivates his Twitter account as Becky Lynch's whatever. How WWE Becky Lynch found.
Okay, we get the idea, Ivan. Yes, there's a lot of stuff going on with Becky.
She's mentioned on the internet in places. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm just giving myself an education here about Becky Lynch and this whole thing. I'm going to dive into this a little bit more because now I'm intrigued.
Well, yeah, and Sasha Banks is related to Snoop Dogg somehow, and I can't remember how.
Okay, then here's one here. New WWE Day of Documentary with Becky Lynch.
I guess like I said, there's a lot of content out there, Ivan. It's just a matter of they are not writing the stories the way they used to. And in fairness, they've tried to make it more of a sport, but at the same time in doing so, they've forgotten some basic storytelling elements.
And so how do you you propose or what I'm trying to say is, what do you think these other smaller wrestling federations are starting to get traction? What are they seeing in these that they're not getting from the WWE?
Well, I think that it got to the point where WWE got complacent. They got complacent. They were the only real show in town, and after a while you kind of got tired of seeing the same stuff over and over again based on what they do in their style and how they do things. So people were looking for other stuff. I mean, the independent circuit for independent shows has been pretty hot for the last few years because at times the WWE wasn't really listening to a lot of, the hardcore fans. And so I think that's kind of helped some of this. And we'll see. I'm curious to see what the numbers look like Wednesday night for AEW. In fairness, they've done very, very well in terms of, selling out pay-per-views and stuff like that they've done. And they've had good following so far. I'm curious to see how this goes because now they're going to have weekly TV. And that's a different animal because they haven't had weekly TV yet, and now they're going to. In fairness, the good news, the only thing that they've got going for them is they've got a legendary Hall of Fame announcer in Jim Ross, and that's huge.
Okay.
That's huge. I mean, they're going to have Tony Schiavone from the old Nitro days. Those are two very big names that people will recognize, and it gives them legitimacy. Chris Jericho is going to be on that show. He's their champion right now. So, I mean, that helps too. And I've seen Chris Jericho doing a whole bunch of stuff out there in a bunch of places to promote AEW. And that makes sense because he's probably the most well-known. And we'll see. Like I said, I think it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know what the numbers need to look like in the beginning for them on TNT, for them not to have to worry about TNT getting nervous. But, in fairness, got to tell you right now, yeah, a lot of the people who are on that show, if you're a real hardcore wrestling fan and you've been watching other stuff, you probably know who all those guys are. Me personally, I know a few of them. I know some of them by name, but the rest of them, I don't know. I'm curious to see how that goes. The positive is, like I said, they've got just enough people who can make this work, and it seems like they're going to have a fresher look, and they're going to try to look different than the WWE, and that's a positive. So we'll see.
Diversity is only going to favor the consumer.
Yep, and that's the hope. That's the hope. And in fairness, some of these WWE guys, their contracts are going to start coming up, and depending, this is good for those guys too. Which is, hey, guess what? You can't softball me out. You can't lowball me on an offer.
Yeah.
Maybe now these guys will get health insurance. Who knows?
Well,
I have no idea.
Well, let's just hope that some good will come from all of this exposure and all of this televised, programming for them. And like with any franchise, you can always hope for the best. And let's hope that, again, they treat it with respect, integrity, and those that, who are involved in it will really give the people what they want. I mean, it's.
Well, I think that's not a. How do you say? Where we're at right now is this. The advantage that AEW has is they really only have to provide 2 hours a week of programming, okay? And when they decide to do, they're going to do a pay-per-view. Versus the WWE, who is constantly putting out programming. And they have a network, and they have all that stuff.
Yeah, their own streaming service.
Right, they have their own streaming service. They're on... They're now, I mean, they've got they've got Raw that's on as we're doing a show. They've got NXT, that's another 2 hours. They've got SmackDown, which is going to be another 2 hours on Fox. And then to top it off, every month they've got a pay-per-view. And that doesn't include any other type of programming that they're doing, even if it's just sit-down studio shows and stuff like that that they're doing. With
the wealth of fresh content that WWE is putting out, that's why I'm saying, why are these smaller wrestling federations gaining traction and getting a share of the viewership?
Well, like I said, because the answer to that question is, Mike, is that the WWE caters to certain types of fans, and the WWE has done certain things. Like, for example, for a while, Vince McMahon was very much about Roman Reigns is going to be the face of the WWE, and he's going to be the baby face, and he's going to be our big superstar. And that was and it was force-fed, and the fans didn't like it. And the fans were very much behind Daniel Bryan, and the organization didn't seem to grasp that, no, we want to see Daniel Bryan. This is who the fans want, and the fans kind of revolted a little bit, and the fans got tired of, okay, you're not. I mean, we're not. There's two sides of it, which is the fans shouldn't dictate everything. At the same time, we're the ones buying the tickets, and I think that there were enough people who got tired of it that started looking for other stuff. Not to mention, like I said, some of the storytelling was tired. Like for example, if John Cena is out at the beginning of the show to do an in-ring segment or do a match, odds on John Cena being involved in anything else the rest of the night are extremely low. So if I'm here to watch John Cena, I'm done in 15 minutes. I'm done. I don't need to come back.
Okay.
Versus back in the day when you had and I'm just using this as an example. Back in the day when they used to bring in Stone Cold, well, Stone Cold would walk. If Vince McMahon did something in the beginning of the show where, Stone Cold, blah blah blah, and then they'd show Stone Cold walking into the building, and then they have Stone Cold where he'd do an interview. Then Stone Cold would go out into the ring and he'd say a bunch of stuff and something would happen, and then they'd set something up for later in the show. And then they'd do another interview somewhere later with Stone Cold later that night. And then you knew Stone Cold would be out later that night to do a match. Okay.
Okay.
Well, am I going to watch the whole 2 hours of Raw because I'm interested to see what's going to happen? Yeah. Absolutely. But they don't do that anymore. Just like they don't set cliffhangers up anymore at the end. So, oh my God, I definitely have to watch to see what happens on next Monday.
That's right.
Or whatever the show is.
Tune in next week.
Right. There's no, hey, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to this? They don't do enough of that anymore. And.
Okay. I think we've touched enough on the wrestling subject.
Let's finally get to the other thing we've been holding off on, which is, and I haven't brought it up, and you kind of brought it up, and I guess we can finally get to it. Remember when we were sitting there and we were talking about, oh no, Spider-Man.
It's like the James Gunn thing all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we talked about that for weeks and weeks and weeks. I was like, okay. It's done. It's good news. I'm glad.
Yeah. Right. So. Well, I mean.
We got good news and then we got gooder news.
Right.
We did?
Yeah. We got good news that Spidey's back. Mm-hmm. And the gooder news is that we're getting a third Spider-Man in 2021.
Right.
So, that's gooder.
Okay. Is that what gooder is?
Yay!
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we talked about this.
Yes.
We all agreed that this thing wasn't done when it was done. All three of us agreed on that. Where, this was probably going to be, this wasn't done until Sony announced that they were putting Spider-Man in the movie.
Yeah.
That this wasn't done.
The thing is that Marvel had plotted their trajectory of the next couple of years between Disney Plus and the movies they were going to put out. But the fact that they shoehorned one in says, okay, it's like two guys arguing over a pile of money, and who's going to get the slightly less large pile of money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's a bit that I got from Forbes, and it says, Spider-Man's return to Disney Marvel Comics at great cost to Sony. In the peace accords reads around the world, Disney and Sony came to a brokered peace on Friday concerning the use of Sony's Peter Parker Spider-Man character, played by Tom Holland, within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Simply put, Disney will put up 25% of the budget for the third Spider-Man movie in exchange for 25% of the profits. Kevin Feige will then serve as a producer alongside Feige. Will then serve as a producer alongside Sony's Amy Pascal for the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home, a film which will be part of the MCU. Oh, and Peter Parker will appear in at least one other MCU movie, which I'm guessing will be whatever the next team-up flick turns out to be. Young Avengers, Galactus Dreams of Planets, maybe? It's unquestionably good news for folks. One more time with feeling.
Interesting.
No.
What team-up flick turns out to be? Young Avengers, Galacticus Dreams of Planets.
Galactus, Ivan.
Galactus. Okay.
Sorry, gotta put my glasses on here. Here we go.
That's a good thing to have when you're reading.
Well, I don't like to use them. Unquestionably good news for folks who like Spider-Man's interactions within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If we're being honest, a Spider-Man 3 version 2.0 within the MCU will probably make more money than one outside of the MCU. It may not be 25% more money. After all, Venom earned $852 million worldwide last year, but c'est la vie. It's also a compromise in that Disney doesn't get so much of Spider-Man that Marvel sees less of a need to create new superhero franchises. The bad news is that Disney now controls 25% and gets 25% of the film's respective global market share for what would be after Jurassic World and Fast and Furious wrap up in 2021, one of the last remaining mega huge non-Disney IPs. The other issue is that Sony loses the chance to show once and for all that they don't need Marvel to make a good to great Spider-Man movie. Moreover,
why is that a bad thing?
Moreover, they can show, relatively speaking, that the credit for the well-reviewed, well-received, and highly successful Homecoming, to the tune of $880 million in 2017 on a $170 million budget, and Far From Home, $1.13 billion in 2019 on a $160 million budget, shouldn't entirely go to Kevin Feige.
Fergie.
I'm sorry.
My lady hubs. My
lumps. My lovely lumps. Okay, and the Marvel brand. Is there
a reason why you're reading stuff that Mike and I already know?
Because I'm just explaining to the rest of the people. Just kind of get.
That's what we do.
Point.
Kevin Feige.
Fergie. Okay.
Yeah. How my London Bridge go falling down my London Bridge?
Okay, you know what? Jeez. I've got 20 billion reasons, not even counting the Spidey flicks, to argue that they damn sure helped. But Sony has shown that they can be a pretty solid Spidey flick without the MCU. Okay, I'm done.
I'm done.
You're done. Fergie!
God. I think that's
There's the name of the show.
Is Kevin Fergie gonna bring the rest of Outcast with him too?
The new Avengers of the Black Eyed Peas.
Not Outcast, Black Eyed Peas. Sorry.
Yeah, the Wu-Tang Clan. Okay. Anyway.
Wu-Tang Clan. Oh god, yeah.
So good news for all. Yay.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Mike, I don't know if you caught the release date for the third Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, July 2021.
No, it's August.
August?
It's going to be mid-August.
Yeah, that's a good time of year. You know, all the...
Yeah, it's going to make... That movie's going to make especially with that near the end of the year.
Yeah, well... Far From Home just edged out the number 4 spot for the third highest grossing film of the year worldwide.
Well, I mean, but we all know... We've talked about this before, too, where at the end of the summer... It starts to be like there's really nothing out there to watch, and some of these movies make a bunch of money just because there's nothing else out there. And you know, we've talked about it. It's been good. That time slot's been good for Guardians of the Galaxy. That time of year's been good for Guardians of the Galaxy. It was good for Suicide Squad. I can't imagine what it'll do for Spider-Man.
Indeed.
I mean, you're talking about a $1 billion property, and you're talking about releasing it in mid-August. That they could easily.
But just before the summer ends, before the fall begins, you know, it's a
shot
whole
in the arm for the movie industry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that could make it. I mean, I don't know. Could it get to $2 billion? I don't know if it'll get that high, but it could get to 1.5. I bet.
I want to go with 2. I'm going to put my money on 2.
I don't know. It takes a lot to get to 2.
Can I make a sucker bet and say it'll get to 2?
Well, Far From Home made $1.1 billion. $1.13 billion this year.
Right, and it was released kind of in the middle of everything and in the middle of the summer, because...
Lion King made $1.6 billion.
Right. There was a lot of stuff coming out then. If anything, what did I haven't looked. What did Hobbs and Shaw end up making?
Hold on, I'll find out. Hold on, I'll find out. Now that I know how to do this myself.
I haven't learned how to do research.
And
What is this? Will this be Kevin Fergie?
Hobbs and Shaw movie. Okay.
What do we think? So, Mike, what do you think the other movie's going to be that they're going to bring in? They're going to bring in Spider-Man 4.
Well, it's not Doctor Strange.
No.
It's not and it's not Thor.
No.
Who's left? Well, Black Panther, Captain Marvel. Not sure.
Somebody said, well, I mean, here's the thing. What about another Avengers movie? Could it be that far out?
No.
What about a Fantastic Four?
Or something to introduce the X-Men.
Yeah.
Do maybe an Iceman Firestar.
Huh. That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be sweet, actually.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No, that's pie in the sky. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredibly pie in the sky.
Okay. It says Hobbs and Shaw grossed $5.8 million on Thursday per Universal at 3,400 locations.
Yeah, that's that one day. I don't know what it did for the. I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's going to do. The point being is, I think Hobbs and Shaw opening weekend made like $60 million.
Okay, it cured $353 million in its first week.
Right. Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, Hobbs and Shaw debut in China was $102 million.
It's made $750 million worldwide. Its opening weekend was $60 million.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it'll double or triple that.
Yeah.
For Spider-Man,
it had a $200 million budget.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Well, it had all the big stars and the sets and
all the stuff they did in the
all the stunts.
I gotta tell you, that was a good movie. It really was. That was surprisingly better than I imagined it to be.
Cool.
The other kind of Spider-Man news is the way they teased it. We might see Tom Holland in some of the Sony movies. And the other thing that's interesting is that Sony came out and announced that they're doing a Madam Web movie. And Mike, do you know I assume you know who Madam Web is or no?
I know the name, but I don't know the context.
So Madam Web she's not necessarily a Spider-Man villain. She's kind of an in-between, and she has this ability for clairvoyance so that she can see like through time and space kind of thing, or dimensions. So it kind of makes me wonder if this isn't how eventually they're going to bring, Tom Holland's Spider-Man
into Sonyverse,
into Sony world.
Yeah,
I think
we've got Miles Morales and Venom and all that. Spider-Gwen.
Right, and by the way, I'm not positive with that kind of thought process. If they really thought that far ahead, that you're right, that maybe we do get a live-action Spider-Gwen.
I'm just looking forward to another animated Miles Morales Spider-Man.
I'm telling you,
because that was fantastic, man.
If they did like what they did with Roger Rabbit with Spider-Ham, I'm in. I'm in.
Okay.
Where it's just a cartoon and everything else is regular human beings. That'd be hysterical.
Okay, well, getting back on Madam Web, I guess Cassandra Webb was dealt a rough hand as a paralyzed blind telepathic clairvoyant who suffered from an autoimmune disease. Every cloud has a silver lining, though, and with her also being gifted with the ability of being precognitive, she soon puts her powers to use.
Like I said, in the comics and even in the Spider-Man cartoon series for Fox, she sees in other dimensions and sees the past and the future and all that kind of stuff. So this might be their way to do to backdoor their way into figuring out how eventually they're going to pull all this together.
Well, here it is.
Makes sense.
Well, here it is. I mean, her first appearance was in The Amazing Spider-Man number 210, but that's in 1980.
Yep.
That's a long stretch.
Right. I mean, when I was a kid, they brought in Madam Web.
Right.
Right. No, absolutely. I remember Madam Web from when I was a kid. Yeah, she's been more recent than some of the other characters, but yeah. But I think it's an interesting choice. The other thing, before we get out of here, two other things. It looks like I don't know if anybody caught that for Jurassic World 3, they're bringing back all 3 of the original cast members from the original Jurassic Park.
Okay. And why are we doing this?
Because it's it's a callback to the first one from '93.
Right. And I think that with the way, I don't know, did either one of you see where Jurassic World 2 ended?
No, I didn't see it. It was
okay.
Yeah. I did see the first Jurassic World with the Chris Pratt one. I saw the first one, but I didn't see the second one.
The second one was it wasn't great. It was okay, but where they left things at the end was interesting. Because essentially, now there are dinosaurs in America, and so
but they're more kind of mutant monsters, right? They're not like
no.
Are they actual dinosaurs this time out? Not just genetically created?
Well, they're all genetically created, Ivan. Yeah. Technically, so
from the mosquito in the Ember.
Right.
Oh, that's right.
But yeah, they essentially released all of them into like the wild and let them go and all that stuff, and so yeah, I'm curious if that has something to do with why they're bringing some of the other ones back, but we'll see. And the only other thing of note is your friend Kevin Fergie.
Feige.
I thought he was Fergie. You said he was Fergie.
Well, it's Feige.
Okay. Apparently is going to be doing a Star Wars movie?
Another Star Wars movie?
Well, they're talking about producing a Star Wars movie where he's going to be involved.
Plans are, in motion.
I'm okay with him being involved. I'm okay with him running a Star Wars movie. As long as you don't put Rian Johnson involved.
And why not?
Did you see Last Jedi?
Nope.
Yeah,
that's why. All right.
Yeah, I'm. So that's
okay.
That's
so I hope Kevin Feige makes a good Star Wars movie, and because he missed Tom Holland like a child missed their blanket, but she's got to get a move on with her life.
Right.
I guess. Yeah. Well.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else? I mean, I know I've been seeing stuff left and right for the Crisis thing. Every time I turn around, they got another.
Like Brandon Routh in the Kingdom Come outfit.
Yeah,
man, it looks awesome. Man, he's gonna be great.
Well, and they showed on set with Tom Welling and Erica Durant,
Smallville,
standing next to Tyler Hoechlin, who's the current Superman.
Yeah.
On that, and then I think there's. I don't know, because now they're talking about somebody's coming in to play Ryan Choi, who is the second Adam. So where we may get that too. I know what else too. One of the people from the Birds of Prey show from the 90s is coming. The one who played Huntress is coming in to play Huntress. So
that could be cool.
They're pulling in people from all over the place. Like I told you the other day, Mike, they wanted to pull in the guy who plays Segel
from Krypton, yeah.
But it didn't work, which makes me wonder, can we get Adam Strange? Could we get Lobo? I don't know about Lobo, but how about Adam Strange?
I don't know.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Or if Adam Strange ended up, especially, he'd be really good for Legends of Tomorrow. That'd be an interesting person to bring in for Legends of Tomorrow. Down the road, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's coming up. So.
Yeah, well, that's not until December. I mean, they're going to start laying I'm curious to see with these shows starting this week how much they're going to lay the groundwork towards
Crisis, they're starting to move the pieces into place.
Yeah, and how they're going to do that in all the different shows. So we'll get we'll see how that's going to work because, like I said, all those shows are coming back this week. So
yeah, exciting.
But yep, speaking of exciting, how can they get a hold of us if they want to be exciting with us?
Yes. You want to be exciting? There's all kinds of exciting places you see us at in the exciting places called the internets. With my chocolate cereal. I did buy a box of Frankenberry at the store the other day.
Frankenberry.
I'm getting Frankenberry.
I got blueberry.
I'm a Frankenberry guy.
Blueberry.
It's blueberry. We're on Instagram and Twitter at SOTRT Podcast. We're on YouTube. Click the bell, subscribe. You'll know when new content drops, usually Wednesday, Friday. We're on Facebook. You get all the crazy news stories for our sister show, News of the Squared.
News of the Squared.
Shout out to Scott.
Scott!
We're on Podbean. We're on Anchor. We're on other places, too, like, Google Play and Apple.
iTunes.
We hit the big time, gentlemen. When then
Spotify.
Fancy Spotify. Yeah, we're there, too. Yeah, awesome. And we're on the email as well. If you want to send us a message, if you're not on Facebook, that's fine too. Email us at sotrtpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
I'm going to see, of course, next week, you'll get my review of Joker.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get to that right away, but okay.
Going Friday.
Yeah, I'm going to be, I'm not going to get to that till later too, so.
All right.
But... as far as your next program, it's going to be slightly bit different. So you're going to let our good people know, or you're going to kind of?
Oh, that works out. That's perfect because that's actually perfect because it'll be you and probably Scott and God knows who else.
Yeah, we'll find out. You have to find out and see or watch.
Mystery guest.
Yeah, mystery guest.
Mystery guest. What'll be your mystery guest? He's got.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So
catch you next time. Thanks for listening.
Have a great time wherever you're at, and catch up with you next time around. Bye.
Bye-bye, Kevin Fergie.
You're welcome.